men have to be able to be emotionally intimate with each other. And we all have a responsibility to invite boys specifically to have a full range of emotions. Because when we don't, we are causing young boys to curb their own humanity, and when your humanity is curbed, you curb the humanity of other people. What does that look like? Violence.
War.
Hey everyone, I'm Lily.
And I'm Elisa, and we're the mother and daughter founders of StyleLikeU.
We're here again with Hesu Joe for another therapist debrief of our What's Underneath Masculinity series. And if you're thinking about starting therapy, we highly recommend giving BetterHelp a try. This week, we're here to unpack the incredible Schuyler Bailar's episode of What's Underneath.
Hi, Hesu.
Nice to see you again.
Great to see you both again, too.
So what was your takeaway, or what did you glean from Schuyler's video?
I'm about to sound like a broken record now. The theme of authenticity, huge in Schuyler's case. It all boils down to distress comes from not feeling like I can be myself.
I think for the longest time in my childhood, I was afraid that I was some sort of imposter. I wasn't who I said I was. I was aware that my gender was important in my life and that it was different from how other people experienced their gender, but I didn't have the word transgender. The first time I cut my hair, everybody immediately started gendering me as male. And I think there was this excitement of that, but then I also felt like a fraud because I didn't know that I was actually able to say I am a boy. I thought there was something wrong with this sort of discrepancy.
We want to, I think, nurture and show our young people that they have adults on their side that want to make sure that they're safe. I think we as adults also have to remember kids very much need the adults in their lives to not only nurture them, but to protect them.
I think sometimes, though, that is where parents might go wrong in situations like this.
When my peers saw me being gendered incorrectly at the time, so he, him pronouns for me, or thought that I was my parents' son, everybody was very upset. They'd be like, no, this is my daughter, and saying girls can have short hair, girls can wear boys' clothes, and totally. But it sent me the message that something was wrong with being a boy, essentially, or wanting to be a boy.
In my life, this is like one of the things that my mom and I have processed was that in her effort, she wanted us to feel safe so badly at times that she invalidated parts of our identity because she didn't want us to get, made fun of or anything. She thought the answer was to fit in, to conform more, but actually that can backfire. Like you want to validate your child, but maybe the outside world isn't safe yet for them to be their full authentic self. And how do you deal with that?
You listen to your child. I mean, I learned that the hard way, but I envy parents of now so much because they have that understanding and knowledge to cultivate that wholeness and not impose societal structures and think that that's, going to protect your child in any way. And the best thing for the child is to be supported unconditionally by the parents.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, parents of today have so much more access to knowledge of different kinds of identity, different kinds of ways of people wanting to live outside of binary system. But parents today also, I think, are seriously challenged when it comes to what is the right way, because there's so many different ways of being. And if you're a parent and you're on social media, you're being inundated with what the right way to parent is or what the wrong way to do this is.
My parents and I had several difficult conversations about surgery. I wanted to get top surgery. That was a very difficult process because my parents were so resistant to the idea. And there's a screaming fight me and my dad had where I said, I'm not asking you to get it. I actually don't care if you understand or not. You need to just trust me because I get it.
He had enough self-worth that he fought really hard for the top surgery and stick to what he felt was very true to him and he knew was right for him. And there was that really moving moment where his father came to the surgery.
I went to this surgery center that had been in practice for several years, serving trans people specifically going through surgery, and he was the first dad that had ever come with his trans son to that center.
Conflict is okay.
Yeah, I mean, show me any parent and child duo that hasn't had conflict. When we talk about boundaries, sometimes we frame it with, I'm going to do this because that's what feels right for me in my life. Now, you parents or family, if you want to be in my life, I'm asking you to be okay with it and have a level of tolerance for it, because if you choose not to, that's on you.
When I was in high school, I thought that boys were just bad. And I think in a lot of ways that actually delayed my transition because I didn't want to accept my own boyhood because I aligned boy and manhood with toxic behaviors. Then I stepped onto a men's team, right? I walked into a men's locker room filled with only other cis men. And I think that was the most terrifying moment when I realized I had a desire to engage in the behaviors because I'd spent so long thinking all these things were horrible. Why would anybody engage? But then I sat in this room wanting to belong.
There's a lot of research out there talking about men gravitating towards group settings rather than one-on-one hanging out. And in groups, often there's like a hierarchy of personalities that begins to emerge pretty naturally. This is not the case all the time, but when you hear men talking about seeking sense of belonging, a lot of times it's referencing acceptance from the alpha personality in a context or a group. It can come from seeking your crew by being accepted for a certain set of ideas or behaviors. But if you're looking for this sense of belonging by posturing or by saying and doing things that don't feel right to who you are as an individual, you've gotten your foot in based on something that's not true to who you are. So eventually you may find yourself in a place of dissonance or discomfort because you're not being authentic. For some men, is it more important to seek belonging than it is to find authenticity? Or is it that that's not even part of the conversation yet? I don't think it's unique to men, but perhaps it's more of a challenge with male-presenting people to do a deep exploration of this as a collective. And I really, really hope that more and more men start living a life that makes it so many other men in their circles feel safe to do something that they may have needed to take some kind of level of risk to do in the first place.
I love the way that you put that because I feel like there's an unlearning and a going back to like what is authentic, and then you'll really feel a belonging.
But it's a very scary shift, not conforming anymore just to fit in and to really be yourself and break from the group. That can be really scary. So
Right. But what you lose, you gain.
It's like you're losing the people that only wanted you around for being a fake version of who you are. So is that really a big loss at the end of the day?
And Schuyler is such an incredible example of someone who was willing to risk belonging to the things that weren't necessarily aligned for him. Well, thank you so much, Hasu, once again. This was such an incredible, inspiring, and enlightening conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. We hope you enjoyed it.
And if you're thinking about starting therapy, we highly recommend giving BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online. It's designed to be convenient and flexible and suited to your schedule. And all you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. And you can switch therapists at any time for no extra charge.
Visit betterhelp.com/what'sunderneath today to get 10% off on your first month of therapy.
That's betterhelp.com/what'sunderneath.